Talk, shop, pop, movies.
Oh, hi there, this is Derek, the Convicted Cinephile, and if you're a convicted cinephile yourself, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel down below. On my channel, I like to talk, shop, and pop open, that is, movies and physical media. And the Oscars happened last night. I did a little before and after live stream about them to BS a little bit, but I'm going to go over the winners here and what I really think I enjoyed. Because I was wrong about a few that I was happy I was wrong about, which is always a pleasant surprise. But yeah, it was a great show. Like the TV program itself was perfectly fine. The "I'm Just Ken" song, of course, being one of the highlights. That was fun as hell. Jimmy Kimmel was fine as always. He's never like amazing, but he's never bad. He's always just perfectly adequate, which is kind of what hosts should be. They shouldn't take away attention from the winners and the nominees and all that fun stuff. It was fun seeing Danny DeVito and Schwarzenegger giving shit to Michael Keaton, who stayed in character in the audience. That was brilliant. Fun stuff like that throughout. Messi was there kicking ass. The fake dog arms clapping. Uh, Fake animal arms doing things is like one of my favorite stupid jokes that I always laugh at. So that makes me lose my shit every time. But as far as the winners go, it seriously went almost as far. Actually, I should say for the categories I care about, which is most of them. Like I'm pretty much just referring to the shorts and the documentaries that I have no real passion for either because I haven't watched any of them, sadly. I'm happy Wes Anderson finally won for his live action short, but it sucks he wasn't even there to accept it. After all these years, he finally wins and he's not there because he was shooting a movie. I think the movie he was making like shoots today, so he couldn't go to the Oscars the night before, essentially, which is too bad. But he at least finally is an Oscar winner. He can have that on his tombstone, hopefully several decades from now. His very symmetrical center shot gravesite, wherever he may lay to rest. But other than that, every feature film category essentially went how I wanted it to go. Not necessarily what I predicted, but how I wanted it to go. The only one that really didn't, and this is only because I haven't seen Boy and the Heron, was for animated film because I loved Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I understand why it wouldn't win because it's the part one of two of a sequel to a movie that was a little bit better in most people's opinions, or at least a lot of people's opinions. They don't like to give sequels Oscars in the animated category that often. The only times they ever have are the two Toy Story movies that won, but Toy Story 3 winning was because it deserved it, and it was also the first Toy Story movie ever to be nominated in that category because it didn't exist when Toy Stories 1 and 2 came out. And Toy Story 4 won out of laziness. I'm just going to roll through the categories here really quick. Best Picture was obvious. Oppenheimer won the Sweepenheimer. I guess I wouldn't even call it a Sweepenheimer. It didn't Sweepenheim everything it could have. It could have gone like 10 or 11 for 13 if it just went totally batshit crazy for this movie, but it won 7. I predicted it to win 7 back when I was hoping Paul Giamatti would win Best Actor, which I still did, but I was extremely happy with Cillian Murphy. So I thought with Cillian it was going to win 8, and then it ended up winning 7 again. So long story short, it won more than half of its nominations. Very solid showing, regardless. But there was no real second place for Best Picture this year. It never showed up anywhere. Usually it's whatever wins the Screenplay Awards. If Best Director goes to Best Picture, which is what happened with Christopher Nolan, which is another slam dunk win. But I don't think American Fiction or Anatomy of a Fall, which won the screenplay categories, really had a chance to win Best Picture other than the fact that they were there. Poor Things seemed to be the most likely number 2 because it won 4 awards. A movie like this doesn't win very often anymore, where it's like a big blockbuster Hollywood movie winning Best Picture. So quit your bitching if you're one of those people who complains that the Oscars are all about movies that no one's seen. Emma Thomas finally winning her Oscar, Christopher Nolan's life partner and producing partner of all of his films, finally wins her overdue award. She's always kind of like in his shadow because everything's Nolan, Nolan, Nolan on all the posters and everything like that, and trailers. But she's always been there right beside him. So awesome that she gets to win an Oscar alongside with him finally for Best Picture. Best Actor in a Leading Role went to Cillian Murphy. Very deserved. It's nice to see a more understated performance win. I have a feeling that if Oppenheimer wasn't such a big film, he probably wouldn't have won for a performance like this, but he deserved to. So it was great. I would have preferred Paul Giamatti winning, but that's just a me thing. I like the holdovers a lot. I love his performance. It got to me more so on an emotional level, and I've just always loved Paul Giamatti, but I've always loved Cillian Murphy too, and he's overdue as well. Like all five of the actors in this category, you could argue are overdue for awards recognition. Hopefully, whatever he makes next, lead or supporting, hopefully it's great. Hopefully he'll win his Oscar finally on his next go around. And I'll say the same for Bradley Cooper. I hope he wins soon. Actress in a leading role. This was a good one. This was the nail biter of the night. I was predicting Lily Gladstone because of the SAG swing at the end there, but when you've watched the progression of the evening, every single thing that won is what won at the BAFTAs, except for visual effects, where Poor Things won that wasn't nominated at the Oscars, but the thing that won visual effects at the Oscars was the only thing that wasn't nominated at the BAFTAs. So it's almost like the same thing happened there. Like they take out that winner and replace it with the winner here. But yeah, last year BAFTA went 0 for 8 for the above the line categories. This year it went 8 for 8. So we were thinking maybe it's the momentum thing. Whatever wins last gives it the benefit of the doubt, which is what happened with Lily Gladstone. But it just doesn't matter. They went for the performance they liked the best. It's the one I liked the best, so I was happy Emma Stone won. She seemed taken aback by the fact that she won. She was gracious. Lily and her are buddies apparently in real life now, which is cool. Hopefully she gets more lead roles. I'm talking about Lily. Emma Stone will, no problem. But hopefully Lily gets her due. Hopefully she gets more solid parts, leading and supporting, in many a film coming up, because she's great. She has a great presence and she just seems like a cool person. So I want to see more of her in things, and hopefully she just doesn't get typecast to just being like, oh, here's a movie with Native Americans in it. Get Lily Gladstone. Hopefully she gets to do a whole lot of different shit because she's a solid actress. But yeah, Emma Stone winning, I was happy. I was wrong. And here's your every year almost. A lot of times, more often than not. Last 3 years in a row at least. Best makeup always goes to an acting winner. Last year was Brendan Fraser in The Whale. As soon as The Whale won makeup, I knew Brendan was winning Best Actor, and I was right about that. The year before, you had Jessica Chastain winning for makeup or for actress, and it won makeup. And it was the only two things it really got nominated for, I think. This year, as soon as Poor Things won makeup, which I was predicting, I was worried about it, but I was Maestro. No one gave a shit about Maestro by the end of things. I was like, I think Poor Things is going to win. It won at BAFTA. People just like the movie more, and that's what happened. And Emma Stone went along with it as well for the same reason. So that was awesome. The makeup actor correlation continues. Best supporting actor, of course, went to Robert Downey Jr. This was a great category. All five of these guys deserve their nominations wholeheartedly. Yeah, I really love all five of these. My least favorite movie out of the five is Barbie, but Ryan Gosling is hilarious in the movie. His performance at the show was funny as all get out. But I love Mark Ruffalo. He's so overdue to win. This was his fourth nomination in supporting actor. He really needs to win one of these years because he's one of my all-time favorites. De Niro, of course, he already has 2 Oscars. He doesn't need to win again, but I was so happy to see him get recognized as a great villain. And Sterling K. Brown, awesome actor, finally getting in at the Oscars for a very good Best Picture nominee. Solid turnout of nominees here. Robert Downey Jr., the perfect win at the perfect time, as I've been saying. Everyone knew he was going to win. It's not like I'm the only one to say that. But this is the perfect kind of legacy win, as I was referring to. Hopefully he just keeps going, keeps doing more shit like this, because he's always fun to watch, even when he's being a little shit like an Oppenheimer and you just hate him. Great quasi-villain performance. Best performance by an actress in a supporting role. This was a super weak category, to be all honest. Not a bad category. Everything here is good. But Divine Joy Randolph just steamrolled through the season, deservedly so she was easily the best thing here. Holdovers was easily the best movie, maybe with the exception of Oppenheimer. But yeah, her performance, great win. Given the argument that Lily Gladstone should have been in this category, which they could have gone either way and I would have been fine with, honestly. I think it looks better that she's in the lead category for publicity's sake and for her career. But had she been in supporting against Divine, I think they still might have split some awards here and there. But it would have made that category exciting as opposed to Best Actress, which just would have been Emma Stone all the way. So either way, you have one exciting category. And Holdovers at least got one win, so that's cool. And it's a win that doesn't relate to its director or its screenplay, which is under question for being plagiarized right now. So it's a good thing one of the actors won and not Alexander Payne or the writer. Best director, I already went over Christopher Nolan winning. Long overdue, very deserved. Jonathan Glazer would have been a cool win. If you take Nolan out of the picture, Jonathan Glazer or Yorgos Lanthimos would have been fantastic. Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall, very solid job. Like that movie a lot. Same goes for Marty with The Killers of Flower Moon. Great nominees there. That's a very good directing category. Like there's nothing there that shouldn't be. Like you could complain that like Greta Gerwig isn't there, but I wouldn't put her above any of these necessarily. She's just like on par with the rest of them, and you can only pick five, and please keep it that way. I hate Best Picture is the only category where you can have more than five nominees, and it's not annoying. Original screenplay went to Anatomy of a Fall, which was very predictable by the end of it. It was the one thing it could win. They love their writer director wins, which is the case for adapted screenplay with American Fiction as well. Cord Jefferson gave an amazing speech about movie budgets being ridiculous and how production companies need to start making $10, $20 million movies instead of one $200 million movie. And every single person who likes movies agrees with that. And I love that both of these films that won the writing award are about writers. Like whenever you have that in the mix, it always gives them a leg up. So it made it kind of obvious by the end which ones were going to win, precursors or no. Cinematography went to Oppenheimer. This is another solid category. Like all five of these are amazing. Lots of black and white in here. Yeah, Oppenheimer win. Hoyt van Hoytema. Overdue. Nominated for Dunkirk and Lost, sadly, that year. Deserves it for this. They developed 70 millimeter black and white film for this movie, which is awesome. It deserves to win just for that. More large scale film, please, in movies. And he was pimping out celluloid during his speech, which was great. Basically joking that it's a hip new thing that people should try using, and I love that. Digital filmmaking is great. It works for certain people, like David Fincher is probably the best example of someone who uses digital like all the time nowadays. But like 90% of the time, if you're making a big movie like Oppenheimer, you should shoot it on film. It just looks better. Let's be honest. It doesn't always have to be 70 millimeter film, but it just looks better. Best film editing went to Oppenheimer, to Jennifer Lame, another awesome female editor in the mix that is an Oscar winner now. Throw her in the ring with Thelma Shoemaker as one of the greats at this point. Solid category again as well. Like all five of these nominees were good. Poor Things, Killers, Anatomy, and Holdovers. I like them all. So no arguments here for the editing award. The only thing that's weird is that usually editing and sound go together, which is the only reason I picked Oppenheimer and sound, which I mean, it would have been a deserving winner. It's not the only reason, but it's the correlation is so strong with the exception of last year. So maybe it's a new thing. They don't have to combine them anymore. They always go film editing and sound together. They didn't do that this year, and I was proud of them for that. We'll get to sound when we get to it. About halfway through the show, Poor Things just hit a turkey out of nowhere. Two of which I was predicting. Actually, I predicted all three of them, but two of which I was predicting because it absolutely deserved it, which was production design. If Poor Things wins one award, I always said it needs to be production design, and it did. And then it won costume design to go along with it. A lot of people were thinking Barbie might take that, even if Poor Things took production design. I wanted it this way. Happy it happened this way. Once again, it proves Barbie was weak by the time voting happened. No one gave a shit about Barbie anymore outside of like, yay, we like Barbie. Let's acknowledge it by being good, by giving it all these nominations. But it doesn't necessarily need to win them all, which I appreciate how they did that. Poor Things is the deserved winner here. And then I'll just jump to Makeup, which was the one I was worried about it winning, but it went along with Best Actress yet again. So happy it won Makeup, not only just because I was predicting it, but I think it deserves it. I love the makeup in Maestro. It would have been a deserved winner as well. But it's kind of nice because maybe the Academy is getting over the attempt, maybe obvious attempt of just trying to transform actors into real people with prosthetics, even though it's extremely well done. They went for the more interesting makeup in the more unique movie, and I appreciate the hell out of that. It's like when Suicide Squad won, except Poor Things actually is good. So very happy. Everyone was like, "Oh, Willem Dafoe's the only thing with makeup in that movie." And yes, he is the most obvious makeup, but Bella Baxter's makeup and hair throughout the movie, just like her costumes, tells her story. And it's nice to see that the Academy actually paid attention to these movies this year in the craft categories. Not just the people who nominated them, but the people who voted on them to win. I like the new Academy. They're doing good. They're getting better. The last few years, they've been voting for some good shit. And speaking of voting for some good shit, best sound. I expected it to go to Oppenheimer just because it was the easy check on the ballot. Yay, Oppenheimer wins all the stuff. Sound and editing always go together most of the time. And they listened, as the winner said during his speech. Thank you for hearing our movie. And Zone of Interest stole, you could say, best sound from Oppenheimer, deservedly so. Oppenheimer would have been an amazing winner as well, like I said, but Zone of Interest is the deserved sound winner. My prediction was wrong, but this was the one thing I really wanted to happen at the Oscars, and I'm psyched Zone of Interest got more than just international film. And international film, I'll just go quick into it. At this point, there was no way Zone of Interest was going to lose. There would have been a fight if Anatomy of a Fall was in there. That could have gone either way. Zone of Interest won at BAFTA over Anatomy of a Fall, but that was UK's movie, so it makes sense it had a leg up for that reason. But here, it could have been either of them, honestly. And even if Anatomy was here and won that, including screenplay, Zone of Interest still would have at least won an Oscar with the sound design award. So deservedly so. I'm happy that happened. On to the music categories. Best Original Score, which is a pretty damn good category, give or take a John Williams nomination for a bad Indiana Jones movie, which should have been Spider-Verse, as we all know. But Poor Things, great nomination. American Fiction, fun surprise nomination. I really enjoyed the score when I watched the movie. It's very jazzy and fun. Killers has a great score as well by the late Robbie Robertson. But Oppenheimer, it's just like on another level. Like the score is just ridiculous. And it goes so well with the editing of the film. As it's amazing. The Oppenheimer score, like I said, it's on another level. It deserved this win. Everyone knew it was going to win this. So good job, Ludwig Göransson. You got 2 Oscars now, and in my opinion, this is his far superior one. Best original song. We all knew a Barbie song was going to win, but which one? Having watched the live performances during the show, I'm Just Ken was definitely more fun, but that's not the point of the category. The category is about songwriting, and out of context of the movie, the right song won. What Was I Made For is a good song, whether or not you're watching Barbie or just listening to it on the radio. You cannot even know it's in the Barbie movie, and it's a good song. I'm Just Ken only makes sense in the movie or like on the stage performance that we saw during the show. Outside of that, if someone's never heard of Barbie before and you play them the song I'm Just Ken, they're going to be like, what the hell is this? Then they're not going to know what it is. So that's why it didn't deserve the win, as fun as it is. The Flamin' Hot Cheeto song, I just love that that is a thing and exists. The Killers of Flower Moon song was cool. I was right. So was most people. What Was I Made For? One deserved winner. Best visual effects wins to the one thing that wasn't nominated at the BAFTAs, like I said, Godzilla minus one. The best thing about this winning, not only does it show that low budget movies are awesome and deserve these kind of awards, same goes for The Creator, which was a mid budget movie with a lot of really cool visual effects. This one got to go to the director of the film as well, and that's the real reason I'm glad it won. I honestly haven't even seen the movie yet. I thought the visual effects looked pretty good in the trailers, but once I heard how big the budget was for the movie, then I was like, okay, they they're doing it right. Then if you got $10 or $15 million and you're pumping out Godzilla effects like that, someone knows what they're doing, and that someone is the director, who is also a visual effects guy. Very deserved win there. Very cool win. First nomination for a Godzilla movie ever, and first win, obviously, on his 70th birthday, as I joked, because Godzilla was 1954. So happy 70th birthday, Godzilla. Here's an Oscar. So those are my thoughts on the winners of the Academy Awards this year. Very good. This is one of the best years of winners in recent memory. I was watching something today. Someone said it was the best year since No Country won, and it's definitely up there, I would say. And it's hard to beat that because that's my all-time favorite. So nothing will ever be better than that year for me, unless the Coen brothers win for another movie. But this year, very solid. Glad to see Christopher Nolan finally get his. Glad to see all the acting winners go to deserving winners, not just narrative picks for the sake of narrative picks. The Oscars are good about that, but other award shows, the SAG Awards specifically. So happy to see what won. Proud of Zone of Interest. Proud of the Academy for listening to the movies and looking at the actual costumes and production design and makeup of these movies and voting accordingly, not just name checking things, not just going for the obvious transformation best actor thing they could have done, which means Maestro went home empty handed, but by the time the awards rolled around, it seems like nobody likes that movie anyways. I liked it fine, but it was still number 10 on my ranking list. What did you like? What was your favorite win? My favorite win of the night, not necessarily like the person who won, but my favorite surprise win was the Zone of Interest sound win. That was mine. What was yours? Please put it in the comments. Were you mad about Lily Gladstone losing? Were you happy for Emma Stone winning? Seems like most people are happy Emma Stone won that I've seen. It's going to be a win that ages well. It's not going to be a thing where it's like, oh, they gave it to her, like Meryl Streep's third Oscar over Viola Davis that everyone already hates. It's not going to be that kind of thing. It's a very well deserved second Oscar win, more deserved than her first. So you can't argue that it's not a deserved win. So Christopher Nolan is finally a two-time Oscar winner. Cillian Murphy's got one. Robert Downey Jr.'s finally got one. Good night at the Oscars. Good night from here as well. Once again, my name is Derek, the Convicted Cinephile. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Talk, shop, pop, movies.